everybody. Today on the sit, I have Tabisa Konyashe. I have known Tabisa, for a very long time, nearly 9 years. And I decided to have a conversation with her. So this conversation is really going to look at fulfillment in your life, in your career. It's going to look at how you define success, whatever that means for you. So for anybody who's listening or hearing us, please make sure that you share, like, comment, like do all the things people do on social media. Get your friends to follow us and do whatever that needs to be done. So yeah, Tabisa, on this platform, people introduce themselves. Please introduce yourself.
Okay, my name is Tabisa. I'm a mother of a 14-year-old boy. I live in Randburg, and I'm passionate about what I do. And I believe in God, and I have 2 siblings. And I come from a great family, a big family that is very solid and with a lot of women, very strong women. And we pride ourselves for that. And I grew up in a village, but I'm here now. So, yeah.
Okay. No, great. I get fascinated when we describe ourselves using things that are happening around us, that I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a this, I'm a sister. That always fascinates me because it feels like you're taking away from who is Tabisa. But that's another conversation for a different
yeah, definitely.
For a different day. So I think my fascination with you, Tabisa, and as I said, I've known you for a while. And my fascination with you is how much you are you're very extroverted. That much of it is there. But it's how much you just try things out. You're always trying something out. Like what is it that really drives you to that point?
I think for me, it was the realization that we have access to everything that we need, right? We have, we can't fail, we can't break anything, right? So I have this curiosity that I need to try this. And at the back of my mind, I always have the thing that I don't want to wake up one day and say, I wonder how that could have turned out if I had done it. So growing up, I went to a boarding school. It's a girls' school. And so I remember this one time we went to the athletics field, right, for running. So we all tried. And I was told, but no, Tabs, it's okay. You don't have to bother. You can sit this one out. And everyone else went and ran. So I was so horrible and hopeless at running that I was excused. And obviously I took up that opportunity because then I didn't have to run on that day. And as you would remember, athletics in high school, they just quite a thing. So later on, fast forward, started jogging. I had a child, then I had put on extra weight and all of that. And a friend said, no, man, we can go and run, let's go run 5 kilometers apart, 5 kilometers. But to cut a long story short, now I'm an ultra marathon runner. And when I look back, realizing that had I not been told then that I'm hopeless at running, I don't think I would have challenged myself to try this running thing. And what it's done for me, Booms, it's amazing because I look at it as an analogy for life, right? But you set up your goal, you get the people around you to support you, you show up, you plan, you show up on the day, and you tick your own boxes in doing so. So I think there's so many examples I can give you. And also, as you know, I took up cycling. Again, it's a background story that I'm trying to sort out. So when I grew up, I've already said that I grew up in a village and I didn't have a bicycle. And I remember my brother, when I was in high school, I think in standard 9, my brother had a bicycle. But back then, girls didn't ride bicycles, right? So I missed that boat again. And now I'm thinking, but I imagine myself on a bike. How are we going to bridge this gap now? So last month, I took a cycling lessons, and now I can cycle with my eyes closed, and I'm so proud of myself. So those,
Wow.
those are the things, Booms. So I keep thinking that we don't have to wait for something amazing or something big. We can keep ticking the small things that give us total fulfillment.
Wow. And I have to say I can relate to the I can relate to the story of running. I'm a hopeless runner. And I was even in high school. Even at school, I was just never sporty. And somehow I was okay with it. I would go to the athletics tournaments and stuff just to go support. I could be a huge supporter of anybody who's running, but it's not for me to do.
Yeah.
And 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 there's always been a sense of being okay with it, because I've always believed that we all have things that we're good at and not good at. But I think the perspective that you're bringing of pushing yourself and saying, I thought I can't do this, but I can push myself to a point where you learn it and you get to enjoy it. I think for me that's the fascinating part,
Yeah.
because yeah, you were saying.
No, I was saying, Brooms, I think with me, as much as I take on these things, it's never so competitive that I'm trying to chase time. No. So I do it for total pleasure and total enjoyment. So then there's a nice flow. It means I can totally give myself to the process without putting strain on myself, right? Because then I know it's just for pleasure, it's just for enjoyment, and there's no other measure other than to tick my own box and clapping for myself, basically.
Wow. Yeah, I think that's an amazing. So you know my story about not being able to ride a bicycle as well. Like where do we come from? Like seriously. Like I've got a sister who used to ride, and she still rides, the sister that comes after me. And I stayed with her for a while, but I keep asking myself, why did I learn? Like why? Now in my late 40s, I'm like, I am going to do this. So you've challenged to do this, and okay, now I'm committing to the whole world that by the end of the year I'll be riding a bike.
Yay.
How's that for a commitment?
In fact, maybe Booms, you also need to mention that we started swimming together. So this is one of the things we did. So yeah, so we're ready for triathlons. Don't worry.
Yeah, like at the age of 40, I literally went for swimming lessons, and now I can get into a pool and swim 15 meters or whatever or more and do backstrokes, and I always just go, oh, I'm so proud I can do that. I think for me, Tabisa, is the sense of achievement of having really broken through the thing that you thought you couldn't do, you know. That for me really brings a lot of pleasure and fulfillment, which takes me to the conversation around, what is your definition of fulfillment?
Booms. I used to say, growing up, I was a neat freak. I was those neat people. Oh my gosh, I was scary. And I mean, until I had a child. So I think I loosened up a little bit. And so sometimes I'd say when I come back home and you could tell. And I'll get this sense of achievement, but oh my gosh, this is so amazing. I know it's not big, right? It's something so small, but one of the things that I believe in, Booms, I collect the small wins in my life, the little things that we've stopped paying attention to. So when my house is clean, oh my gosh, I feel very successful and very fulfilled, because then it means I can think, then it means I can start planning, then it means I can have a solid day. Obviously, I can do those things for myself, but also I think the ability to contribute to someone else's life, knowing that Umpo makes me look good and I feel good because Umpo came. And also when some of the things, they happen by chance, and then you learn to throw yourself in those situations. So for example, one of the things that I enjoy with all my heart is selling. Believe it or not, I have no problem selling. I don't know why I'm a millionaire yet, but we'll get there. um, so for me, what I learned when I was is there's more to everything that to do with pleasure without any pressure, especially pressure to make money when you're selling. So then what I learned from selling the handbags and designing stationery and all the little bits and pieces that I do, I get to have these wonderful, great conversations with people that I wouldn't ordinarily have met. And then we end up talking and I discover more through just something that is mindless, which is maybe me trying to make extra money to or whatever the reason is at the time. But so I've since learned to take everything seriously and not to take anything for granted, because then I believe there's a weaving, there's a reason why things connect. And I can't say, for example, I'll be fulfilled only at work, because I'm still here. I'm not at work today, but I must find some form of fulfillment. Then I think for me, I mean, you know, I'm big with this, that as a librarian, I qualified as a librarian. So I am a solid librarian.
Right. Spectacles and all.
Yes. Right. So I qualified as a librarian, Booms. And so one thing I pride myself of, or maybe it's a gift, or maybe it's a talent, I don't know, but I'm good with people. I know that very well. I'm very good with people, and I manage to connect people to people. So even that, I do that for myself as well. That so in the spaces that I've mentioned at work, even in my personal life, and running, cycling, and you know, everywhere, then it's the relationships and the networks that I think keep me alive, right? So I think I don't know if that answers the question, but in a nutshell, it's just that for me.
Yeah, no, I think it does. And the point that I'm trying to get to is the fact that fulfillment is different for different people. So what fulfills Tabisa might not necessarily fulfill Umpumi because of who the individual is. But being conscious about knowing when you're fulfilled, I think for me, that's the most important thing. Because sometimes we go through life and we literally just go through life, literally just going through life without being present, without realizing to say, I'm fulfilled when I do this, and I'm not fulfilled when I do this. Because what that usually does is you then asking yourself, why am I not fulfilled when I do this? Maybe you can get to an answer that says, I'm not fulfilled because maybe I hate doing it. So let me tell you, I don't enjoy cooking at all. Like it's just something that I do, but it comes across as a chore, and it's something that I don't enjoy doing. But get me to be your helper when you're cooking. I will cut the potatoes for you. I will do the chop, the onions, even wash the dishes afterwards. Because that for me, I'm fulfilled. I've contributed in the feeding of people in this house, but I don't necessarily have to be a cook because I don't enjoy cooking. Yeah. So it's those type of things of being able to be in touch with who you are, and maybe to even focus on the things that fulfill you, and understand why the other things don't fulfill you and leave them to be, you know. And I think for me that's the one thing that drives me, because I keep saying I want to help people find fulfillment in their careers and in their lives, and mainly in your career. When you're not fulfilled, it's the worst space that you can find yourself.
Yeah.
So I think maybe the question to you is how are you seeing this fulfillment playing out in your own life, or in your own career, and that type, and those spaces?
So like I said, I don't benchmark myself against other people, right? And so I know the things that would make me happy, and I know that I'm not running late for anything, and I'm on my own lane, in my own lane basically, and running my own pace, right? So I think just that realization for me makes me happier as a person, because I know that I don't have to achieve certain things by a certain time, right? And I think what's important when or what I've learned for myself is that some of these things we think they're outside of ourselves, right? That I will be fulfilled when when I achieve this, or when I have so much money, or when this happens. But you carrying yourself every day, right? So for me, it was nothing but, oh, okay. So the fact that I have not achieved, maybe I have not bought myself a house, or I have not taken my son on a holiday, doesn't mean we can't be happy today in this environment, because there is a house that we live in, there is a weekend that we can have mini braai, which is the same thing. Then the difference is scale, that when we're on holiday, then we think things are different, or we're looking at, we think that is more important than being at home and enjoying the small environment that we have. So for me, like I said, my favorite quote is in fact, not a quote, a hashtag is God of small things, right? God of small things all the time. Because in my life, I've realized that, oh, okay, so then I can't wait for the weekend for me to be fulfilled. Today, if I've achieved, if I'm productive today, then I'm happy. So I'm fulfilled for today. Then I can collect all these things. So my life is never boring. Trust me, my life is never boring. You can test me on this. My life is never boring, because everything that I engage in, I do it wholeheartedly. And I bring my total self in everything. So I don't look, or I never felt less fulfilled in Booms. It's just that maybe I'll say, oh, this is where I'm at today, but this is where I'd like to be tomorrow. But oh my gosh, I'll soak in today, because this is where I'm at today. So that's how I look at these things, Booms.
Yeah, and I think Tabisa, that's a great perspective, because at the core of it is you're in the present, and you're saying, I want to be happy and fulfilled on a daily basis, whatever that means for you. I think I get very concerned when people are in a space of, I will only be fulfilled when this one big thing happens, because the question becomes, so what if it takes you 10 years to get to that point? On a daily basis, what happens? Are you unhappy? Are you unfulfilled? And that for me always just raises a sense of a discomfort. But it's my own perspective of that. And the other person may be quite comfortable with that situation. But I always just think, every time I put my head on my pillow, there just needs to be that thing that says, oh my God, today was a good day, right?
Good day.
Even in the midst of turmoil or storms, because life happens. But there's just being in a sense of, I'm good, for me is always a big thing for myself, and I always would like to see that for other people, because I find myself engaging with people that maybe are in difficult spaces, and I want to help them through that, to say, define what does it look like for you, and then so that you can put steps to get to a point where you know that you're living a fulfilled life, and you know that your successes, you're ticking them, no matter how small they are.
So when people talk about gratitude, right? And I think we understand the value, or because it's so cliche these days, like we roll our eyes every time people talk about gratitude. Oh my gosh, until you practice it. The day you get your notebook, even if you don't have a notebook, if you're sitting in the sun or wherever, reflecting in the car, wherever you are, right? And think that, oh my gosh, the number of things that I have today that I even never thought possible, right? And so this is not taking anything away from the goals that you have, that you want to be a CEO one day, you want to be a mother of 3, you want to have a beach house and a holiday home, and all these other great things. Maybe you want to be a pastor, right? Great things. But today, we have things that we've managed to do. So ticking those boxes, appreciating those small things on a daily basis. So for me, gratitude is very important. I don't have, yes, I have journals, yes, I have things, but for me, what works very well is when I whisper those things that make me feel so good in a day. When I go for a run, oh my gosh, I call upon all my forces that help me run. Then my run is lighter. Then my run is more enjoyable. When I'm maybe doing a piece of work, then I remember all the things that make me happy about that. What I'm focusing on at the time. So for me, it's gratitude. But oh, thank you, Lord, for my creativity. Thank you, Lord, that I have people that trust me. Thank you, Lord, I have an environment I can use to pursue these things. Oh, thank you, Lord, for my son, because then he helps me to be a solid mother. Because then I wouldn't have solid parenting skills if I didn't have him. Because every day, then I have to evaluate myself. Am I meeting my own standard as a mother? Oh, okay. What do we have to? I mean, I've used this example with you before. So one funny story. During the week, he was annoyed about something, and so he told me off. He wrote this long email. Booms, you should have seen the tone of the email coming to me. We're sitting in the same house, right? But you wrote me an email with kind regards at the end. So then I looked. I was shook. I was shook when I received it. But I thought, hey, I'm the mother here, so let me just receive this with a level of dignity. So now I read the email. It says, since you are so busy and didn't want to help me with this, I've taken it upon myself to do it. I've written to Mrs. So-and-so, teacher so-and-so, and the problem is sorted, and because you're so busy. So I called him, and because no, I'm thinking this is a confrontation, but I didn't address it as such. I'm like, oh my gosh, my child is grown, right? He's like a leader. He's addressing things properly. So I shook his hand. I'm like, thank you, your leadership, right? You grab problems and you deal with them because I didn't know what to do at the time. So then that kind of melted the whole tension, because he was adamant that I was wrong, but he was sarcastic in his approach. But for me, then that taught me, oh my gosh, this child can stand up for himself. This child can challenge authority and all those things. Those are the kind of things that for me, because then it means there's a freedom of speech in my environment, right? That he can speak to me, he can address me, he can tell me how he feels, and even when he does, I'm not threatened, because I could have said, hey, Wena, don't speak to me like that. Hey, this attitude. No, but I didn't. So we shook hands and we laughed at the situation because it ended up being a win-win, right? So
like he sends you an email. I think that's funny.
It was shocking, but yeah, we lived through it. And yeah, so for me, when I'm booms, I never, yes, I do have big goals and stuff, but on a daily basis, I reflect on the experiences that I have on a daily basis because I don't want to trivialize them, because my mind is set on other things that are bigger, because I believe every experience, every situation is a stepping stone. So every encounter is a stepping stone towards those big things that we aspire to. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think just that point, Tabisa, wraps up even this conversation for me. The point of saying every small step it contributes towards those bigger steps. And the one thing that sometimes I think we don't do well is reflecting. It's just reflecting on situations, reflecting on the day, because we find ourselves running around, being caught up on other things, having to deal with the pandemic, the drama, the sadness that is around us, and all these other things. And sometimes we don't take the time just to reflect. Because with reflections comes a lot of learnings, right? There's an element of just saying, wow, because this happened, this is how I'm feeling about it. And sometimes there are memories that comes up, and you go through the emotions as well. And I think we don't take much time to do that. And I think, thank you for that point, because I think that for me is one of the biggest points out of this conversation.
Yeah. So the other things when that maybe in a very strange, funny way, it's what is it? The lessons that we learn through, is it adversity or is it loss or is it bad luck, or all those things that we categorize and put in a box. So one of the things that I'm big on is also believing in God and the Holy Spirit. Oh my gosh, I cannot do anything without the Holy Spirit. And I wouldn't classify myself as umzalwane because I'm a Methodist, right? But we believe in God and the power of the Holy Spirit. So we can go and spend time and work tirelessly and have strife in our lives because we're not using the tools that we have on hand. So yeah. I look at the Holy Spirit as one of the tools that I have to help me through situations, right? And to drive that level again of fulfillment, right? So last year, I mean, this, last year I lost my mother and I was totally broken. And in fact, I couldn't even breathe. I couldn't even imagine my life without my mother because, I mean, she's a solid part of my life. And more than anything, we were best friends. And besleba song, right? So when you lose a mother and a best friend, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be exposed. We're gonna, right? But through all of that experience, when I'm booms, opportunities, right? So that's why I say I use the God of small things all the time. Opportunities to open yourself up to say, oh, okay, now that I don't have a mother, then I need to be more receptive to everyone that is trying to help me because there are always two things that you can try to, there's no snapping out of it, but you can soak in the experience and reflect on who she was and be glad that she was your mother and the lessons and the life lessons, how she groomed you as a young girl and all of that, right? And the other alternative is total depression, right? I mean, I see how one can sink into depression because it's a deep, dark hole. But so what I learned on that journey was there is still life, right? I can't be totally depressed with Nodoli because I mean, I'm 44 and she raised us very well. And then we're taking the lessons and applying them in our lives and then learning or what a conscious decision to journey without her and understanding what that means. Oh, okay, Nodoli is not here, but look at us now. Oh my gosh, so many people demonstrated their love. Oh, we never even realized that so-and-so loved us so much. So now we start paying attention. Oh, okay, our family. Now we understand. I mean, I told you that we come from a very big family and we're very big on family. And so we have this solid projection and structure. Oh, then it means I'm a grown up because now I'm a deputy parent, right? Because the two of my siblings. Then so with that loss, when I'm booms, there was a realization or new level of with an opportunity to elevate myself a little bit, because then now I realize the responsibilities that I have to my siblings and that we have to each other. And that I still have a son, right? I don't have a mother, but I still have a son. So all of those things, then I think I got a different picture that groomed me again to be a different person, and again find fulfillment. Then label fulfillment differently now that I'm Senonodol. Do you understand? But obviously, I'm still the same person, same journey, but now I've been affected by something that has changed my life. But even beyond that, oh my gosh, life is still beautiful. We're still ticking our own boxes. We're still winning. There's still fulfillment. I call that total devastation. No. Because there's appreciation of my life today. And also when then you reflect on what am I good at? What are the things that I think I need to contribute to society? In fact, what is my story, right? Am I even representing myself well and my family and who I want to be? The opportunities that are open to, that are availed to me, am I grabbing all of them and running with them before I can even think, oh, my life sucks? You can't say your life sucks unless you can demonstrate you've tried everything that there was or that there is in your life, to make sure that it's a successful life. So it's little things for me, Booms, that I have learned to pay attention to, that I've learned to really enjoy, that I've learned to to soak in, and to be real. Because I think when we spoke to Sylvester on last week, he spoke about honesty. There is nothing, I wear my heart on my sleeve. I think with most people, that is so difficult because you're worried about being judged, you're worried about what people will say. I don't care. When I'm happy, I'll show you. Then you will know when I'm not happy. So those kind of things, they make my days. When I go to bed, Booms, I am totally spent because I've done everything that I could. I know that I've done everything I could on that day, even with friends, because I think more than anything, what's also important to me is I know I have a great attitude because I'm an Aries. You know how wonderful Arians are. But Booms, I think one of the things that I'm also conscious of is I can help people what move past maybe hurdles or difference, because I have great energy, right? I have good energy. I know that. And I use that for not just for my benefit, but for the benefit of others. So I know when someone doesn't want to see me, maybe they don't want to be great on that day because, like, oh my gosh, she's going to bring so much greatness in my life. I can't do this. So,
Wow.
So I think one of the things that are true or important is understanding and reflecting on the contribution that we make to the people around us, and how we're showing up, and how we leave the people that we impact in our lives, right? So after this conversation, would I have contributed something meaningful? If not, oh my gosh, I don't want to be a part of this. Do you understand? So I'm conscious about those things. So if I commit to something, it's because I want to contribute meaningfully.
Yeah. And I think that's great, Tabisa. And I, in the couple of years that I've known you, you really go out of your way to help people, and you take big projects where some of us are looking at you thinking it's a big project, and you would say no, I'll just we'll do it. It will be done. It will be done. And then once you're in it, you realize how big a project it is. But I think what I've learned from you from that perspective is it's because you're doing it from the heart, right? So you don't let anything stop you, because you are already at the end of it. You are seeing the bigger vision. You are seeing the outcome. And then you get a shock of how the process looks like once you're inside. And sometimes I think that helps you, because if you could understand what the process looked like, I think you will get defeated before you even start. Yeah. And that, for me, I think is what always amazes me with you, and this type of stuff that you take on, and then you get a shock in the middle of it, and there's no going back. The only thing you can think about is, I need to finish because I've committed to doing this.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good way to live your life. It's actually quite amazing.
Yeah. So I think those are the kind of things, Books. I don't worry a lot about things, right? Because it's either you do it or you don't. And I don't obsess about the detail, like you say. I don't obsess about the detail. I just like, oh, okay, this needs to be done. Okay, let's do it. Then I discover. So someone else would say, maybe the planners would say I'm childish, or because I don't understand the process from end to end. But then sometimes understanding that deters us from doing what we want to do, because we're like, whew, such a lot of work. Let me plan, and then when I'm ready, I'll do it, which we know it's never. So yeah.
Yeah, but it also talks to the innovation spirit that comes with just being able to try new things and explore new things. Yeah. As long as you know what benefit it gives you and what's the impact that it will give to somebody else, and you focus on those things. I think that's a very important thing.
And
so,
I think,
sorry?
No, so it's fine. Please go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was saying, I think I've rubbed off that this trick on my friends that they end up doing things that they never imagined doing, because I'm like, oh no, you can do that. And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah. So don't worry about the detail. We will figure the detail out as we go along. But trust me, you can do this. So yeah, I've thrown a lot of people in the deep end, because I do that with myself too.
Yeah, which I think is amazing, and that impact, that you're impacting people's lives and pushing them to a point, and being able to do something that you never thought you could do is an amazing thing. And I think that's your gift to the world, which is an amazing part. So if there was one thing that you would want somebody to take away from this conversation, what is that?
It's to believe when that we're not here by mistake, right? We're here to totally contribute and be absolutely confident in our talents, in our gifts, and in our skills, and be sober in how we measure success. Because I think those are the kind of things that trip us, because we say success is this, and then when we're not leaning towards that, then we think we're not successful. So we need to be sober with how we measure success, and know that we're total individuals, right? We're not here to replicate anyone. We're here to live our lives and to live it better, because we were here.
Wow, thank you very much.
Yeah.
So to anybody who was listening to this conversation, please engage with us, give us feedback, share if you really think this is making an impact into your life, or if you believe there's somebody out there that needs to hear this. This is the reason why we do this conversation, is just to impact one life. If there's somebody out there, one person that says, that made me make a different decision in their lives, I'm good. I can put my head on my pillow and be fulfilled for the day.
Yeah.
So thanks, Tabisa, for the time. I highly appreciate it.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mbonisi.
Where do people find you on social media? If people want to engage with you, where do they find you?
I on Facebook, I'm Tabisa Konyashe. Tabisa spelled Tabisa. And on Instagram is Konyata, Konyashe, with a T, Konyata. Konyashe T. I'm Konyashe T on Instagram, and on Facebook, Tabisa Konyashe.
Okay. Thank you for the time.
Cool. Thank you so much, Mbonisi. This was amazing.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.